are we missing out on something? Because we've talked about so many things, so many solutions proffered in terms of how to solve this problem.
Yes.
How about how we elect our leaders? Because if we don't get the right people out there, who knows? We may just be falling on deaf ears. All we say about focusing on education, how you need to key in. Would they even see the importance of it?
Actually, let me share something here from, by the way, I brought a book with me.
Okay.
And I don't know if you people have seen this book.
Oh, okay.
It's called From the Third World to the First.
Yes, I know.
The Singapore story from 1965 to 2000. I understand that the president actually gave every minister a copy of this book because to me it has become a standard book for national transformation. When you read this book, you know that changing a nation is indeed possible. Now, Lee Kuan Yew said something. He said he was advised when he started to build Singapore to do three things. Number one, infrastructure. Have a first-class infrastructure. Number two, education. But guess what number three is? Good governance. It says a government that must be honest and transparent. So if you don't have that, it's a catalyst for nation building. So good governance, of course, has to do with who we elect, even if do they have appreciation for good governance? Is it their goal? Because people can start not having those skills, but if they are sincere, they will mature in them. So you're right. We have to seriously give thoughts to not just how we elect our leaders, but the growing intolerance in the nation, religious intolerance, tribal intolerance, does not make for good nation building. We need to address them. Because if we build a nation that is wealthy and has surplus, there's enough for everybody. But because we haven't gotten there, we think there's not enough, and so we are fighting for the meager, I guess in summarizing, education has meaning in the context of nation building, in the context of where you are going, because that sets the ceiling, that sets the standard, because what is good for, what Nigeria calls good, may not be good for Singapore. So your capacity development is defined in the context of what you want and the circumstances that surround you. So for example, I will not consider a Nigerian graduate fully competent until he can speak French. Why? We're totally surrounded by French-speaking country. Are you with me? So our maximum impact in West Africa can only occur if we are able to move freely and interact.
And that can be factored into our ultimate vision.
Exactly. If our vision is to become the best, then we have to define it. We have to pursue it. My concern many times is that we go and borrow terms from outside and try to implement it, when indeed we should define our own worldview. Define our vision. Where do we want to be? Commit to it. Define the skill sets we need to get there. And then let the education sector develop the curriculum to produce such people. And we monitor it.
Are we not distracted by multiple issues?
In fact, I was even thinking about it. There were so many issues coming up yesterday, and I said to myself, they can't all have equal importance. Nation building is in season. A nation is first a child, and then an adolescent, and then a matured adult. Are you with me? It's not the education policy you need when you're matured. It's not what you need when you're starting. When you're starting, Your main emphasis is to create job. So you focus on policies that will create job, create, if you will, shelter for people, security. But once you stabilize, then you shift your policy towards developing higher skills, maybe technology skills, things that will attract, if you will, more sophisticated industries. And then eventually you graduate into a policy that allows you to be creative and innovative. Yesterday, as Dr. Victor Kaur was speaking, he said that Singapore will scan the horizon to see what the trends are, what are the emerging trends. And then they now train their students to take advantage of it. Nigeria is still not at that stage. We are still trying to create jobs first. So I don't think we should give equal attention to everything. We should focus on things that first create jobs. Because as you saw what happened last Saturday,
Yeah.
we need to create jobs for our students.
What about our parents? Where do they fit in to all of this? Because they're the people who will tell their words, okay, well, this is what I expect, this is where you should go. In most cases, in some cases, against the will of that world.
Let's not forget that parents are our first teachers.
Yeah.
But much of our learning takes place at home. Lee Kuan Yew, I mean, you have to read this book to understand some of the comments I'm about to make. At one point, it became a policy issue in Singapore that the parents, that uneducated people were having more children than educated people. That's to the extent that Singapore monitored their progress. What was the concern? Because children from uneducated families do not perform as well as children from educated families. But you and I can understand that. When both your parents are well educated, of course, they will help you with your homework assignments. Not only that, in some instances, they will even teach you more than the school expect. So by the time you graduate from such a family, of course you're very strong, intellectually strong, and able to compete. What am I trying to say? There is a role of family in education. And that's why I'm happy that all the discussions have not neglected adult education. There's also another statistics. It has been shown that for every year a mother gains in education, it affects infant mortality. In other words, the more educated mothers have less incidence of infant mortality than uneducated mothers, which also shows that education is important, not just for the welfare of the family, but even for the benefit of the individual.
All right, so that's all we have to let it go this morning. Professor Vincent Anigwagu is the Director General, Institute for National Transformation International. We've been talking about transforming education through partnerships for global competitiveness, which is the focus of the Nigeria Economic Summit.